Hi, I'm Alex Young of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. Today, I'm going to talk about eclipses across America and beyond. Now, when we think of the sun, it's a fairly unexciting object in the sky. We may get a beautiful sunrise or sunset, but arguably we all kind of take it for granted, even though it is our source of heat and life and drives life on Earth as we know it. But, we're often told that we shouldn't even look at it because it is so incredibly bright. Too bright to see safely without the proper kinds of filter, the proper kind of viewing device. So what we know of it, at least here on Earth, is fairly limited, except during one particular time, and that is during a total solar eclipse. So when the moon, sun, and Earth are aligned just right, and the moon appears in the sky at roughly the same angular size as the sun, and during this time it moves across the sun, it completely blocks out this incredibly bright disk of the sun, and it allows us to see the outer atmosphere, which is a million times dimmer and something we normally can't see with this bright object. Here we see the moon covering up the bright disk, and now all of this amazing structure is visible. You see these pink areas. These are called prominences, where solar material is supported high up into the outer atmosphere, the solar corona, by magnetic fields from the sun. You see all of these loop-like structures and various fanning structures, as well as lots of threaded features. These are real structures in the solar corona, only visible from the Earth during a total solar eclipse. And they're showing you the dynamics, the magnetic fields, the type of phenomena that's driving solar activity, things like space weather. And the other thing that's amazing is the sun has an activity cycle of roughly 11 years, going from solar minimum, low activity, to maximum, back down to minimum. And so the great thing is the corona you see is different as we move through the solar cycle. So what we saw in 2017, which is what you're looking at right here, will be different than what we see at future eclipses or what we've seen in past eclipses. But also where you see the eclipse, where it is in the sky, what the local conditions are, makes a difference, meaning that every eclipse is different. Every eclipse is unique. But all of them are nature showing you an amazing celestial event on the ground that you can see with your own eyes. It's a spectacular experience. And it's more than just a visual experience. It's a visceral, environmental experience. Animals respond to a sudden change in temperature. It can get much cooler by many degrees. The light that you see is now about as bright as a full moon. So it's almost like a dusk or a dawn. As you look around, as you're in the shadow, you see kind of a dusk-like effect in every direction. And it's just an amazing experience, one that I hope everyone can see for themselves and experience for themselves. It certainly blew me away and is one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen, and I can't wait to see more. Here's the path of the 2017 eclipse. Hopefully you were able to be in the path and see the totality, but if not, at least have experienced the partial eclipse. But I can tell you there is no difference. 99% to 100% is literally night and day. So make sure that you don't find yourself just a few percent away from totality, because you'll be missing out on something that's truly spectacular. This particular eclipse was the first one in the US in 38 years, and the first one from coast to coast in almost 100 years, starting off the coast of Oregon, ending off the coast of South Carolina, covering 14 states over a couple hours period. And any one location around the center line where you would have experienced the longest totality was roughly 2.5 minutes, and that length goes down as you move closer and closer to the outer edge of the path. Last year, in July of 2019, we had an eclipse that started in the Pacific off the coast of South America. It reached land on the coast of Chile, crossed Chile and Argentina, ending just off the coast of Argentina near Buenos Aires at sunset. I was fortunate enough to be there to see it in the desert, and here's a picture taken with an iPhone using one of We took a GoPro video. I'm one of the people running around in the background. This is from the desert in Argentina, and you can even see the shadow as it moves across the sky. We reach totality just near sunset over the mountains. It was quite amazing. And one of the things that was amazing about this is the chance to see something relatively rare called shadow bands. Because this was so low in the sky, the light from the eclipse went through a lot of Earth's atmosphere. And you can have an effect if you have enough atmosphere, similar to when light goes through a pool and you have this shimmering on the bottom, which are called caustics. And the same thing can happen during an eclipse. Typically, you need some sort of bright white surface, like a white sheet or a white roof, to see it. But in this case, we had something really amazing because it was so low in the sky and the light was projected on the side of a mountain. We could see the shimmering shadow bands on the side of the mountain, and it was pretty amazing and even a little distracting because we turned around from the eclipse to see this effect. People were really blown away. And you can hear me in the background. I had to actually bite my tongue to make sure that I didn't use too explicit of language so that I could record this and share it with people. But it was fantastic, and we feel very fortunate. And also, you can see the very cool elongated shadows during the partial eclipse in some of those places where the shadows actually the light cast through things like fingers created kind of a pinhole effect. You could see the sort of crescent shapes. Pretty amazing. So 2020, December 14th, we have a total solar eclipse also across Chile and Argentina. But now the peak of the eclipse is not across at the Pacific, but it's actually on land in Argentina, meaning that when the eclipse is passing across these countries, it will be much higher in the sky. And the path of totality is much farther down, uh, farther south in the continent. Then in 2021, we have a total solar eclipse that touches the edge of South America but crosses Antarctica on December 4th. Then we have in the US an annular eclipse in 2023, which is when the moon is slightly smaller in the sky because it's farther away, meaning that it doesn't completely cover the sun, and so it leaves a ring around the sun or an annulus. Now, here, because the sun is not completely covered, there's still a small percentage, even 1% of the sun uncovered is too bright. So, for an annular eclipse, you still need those safe solar viewing glasses. But it's a spectacular event, can create some amazing shadows, and it gives us a chance to get ready for 2024 when we have another total solar eclipse across the US on April 8th. So have been quite blessed with a lot of really amazing eclipses. Here's the path for the 2020 eclipse. And here you can actually see that they're alive. So there's the 2020 eclipse, then there's the 2021, there's one in the Pacific, one across Australia, and also one over part of Europe, as well as one over Africa, in addition to the one in 2024. And we have the two eclipses, 2023 and then 2024. Both of their paths cross over Texas. So hopefully you can get ready and enjoy this amazing, amazing event. For the 2019 eclipse, and this year we start some more.